again. Trying hard, but you wanna be my friend. Ain't no place to hide, ain't no one to run to. Here we go again. Call my bluff, I'ma be here till the end. I'm the one you ride, I'm the one you ride to. If you don't wanna change, ain't no place to hide, ain't no one to run to. If you don't wanna change, I can help you out, 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 I can help you out. Here we go again. Time is up and I'm calling up my friends. Ain't no wonder why, ain't no one to ride to. Here we go again. Call me up and you wanna be my friend. I'm the one you ride, I'm the one you ride to. If you don't wanna change, ain't no place to hide, ain't no one to run to. If you don't wanna change, I can help you out, 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 I can help you out. Look, if you don't wanna change, ain't no place to hide, ain't no one to run to. If you don't wanna change, I can help you out, I can help you out, I can help you out, I can help you out.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the stream once again. Appreciate everyone tuning in. We got a big Wednesday slate to break down. We did get some injury news come out during the afternoon that we will talk about. Donovan Mitchell has been ruled out for tonight, so that is something worth mentioning for sure, because Mitchell, obviously a very high usage player, so getting him off the floor, there's going to be some beneficiaries from Utah that we're going to have to talk about. But once again, we're going to be on for about an hour, answer all your questions, talk through tonight's slate, let you guys know, what I'm liking for tonight, and we'll take a look back at my lineup as well from last night. That's something I want to start doing on the stream, is recapping last night, and I do have my lineup pulled up from DK. Played one lineup on DK last night, played 10 on Yahoo. Not going to really review the lineups on Yahoo. I had a profitable night. I barely came out in the green on Yahoo, but we'll review my one lineup that I did play on DK. But yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks as always for tuning into the stream, hitting that like button. I know we already had like 20 likes before I even went live, so I appreciate all the likes, guys. 12 gamer, let's win some money. Let's do it, Texas Trill. Let's do it, my man. So I'm gonna let some more people get in here before we start looking at the recap from last night. We'll answer some questions first, and then we'll take a look at my lineup from last night. We'll talk about. What's up, Noah, all the way from Peru? I appreciate that, JM. Thanks for tuning in again, my man. You're in here basically every day, so I appreciate that. Trae Young or Steph? Right now, Michael, I think I'm on Trae Young over Steph. I really like Trae Young tonight, especially if Clint Capella gets ruled out. I mean, I don't know if that affects Trae Young too much, but in this game, fast-paced game against Brooklyn, both Brooklyn and Atlanta, they're like in the top half of the league in pace so far this year. Game has the highest total on the slate. The Nets-Hawks game, really like Trae Young here. I played him last night, and I'm probably going to be playing him once again tonight. I think it's a great spot. I think he has a ton of upside. I do slightly prefer him over Curry, but Curry's a great play as well. Curry's too cheap, and it's a really good matchup for him too. I mean, that Minnesota Golden State game right now has the second highest total, so if there's any game that could be high scoring as well, it would be that one. No Westy, do you just plug in Beal? I think at his price point on DraftKings, he's not like a lock and load. I think he's a really good play. 10,200, I would say that might still be a little bit too cheap, but it's not like Beal's 9K. I think if Beal was 9K, he would be my favorite stud on the slate. But given that he's, almost $1,000 more than Curry, he's $1,000 more than Trae Young, I think right now I prefer the savings going with those guys, but I'll definitely have a good amount of exposure to Bradley Beal. Probably going to be playing him on Yahoo where it's easier to get him in. Not sure yet on Draftkings if he'll be in my main lineup, but if I can find a way to get him in there, if we get more value open up, Bradley Beal, now that Russell's out, which was kind of expected, he looks like a really good play. So yeah, Beal, Trae Young, kind of two of my favorite pay-up options right now. I barely came out in the green from Yahoo last night. Shake my head. Yeah, so I played 10 lineups on Yahoo, and I literally lost $10. I played 270 total entries, and I won 260, so I lost $10 on Yahoo last night. Lamb if Sabonis is out. Yeah, I really like Jeremy Lamb if Sabonis is out. I'd assume that Lamb would start, and he's been really good off the bench. Now that he potentially could be in the starting lineup, I think he'd get more minutes. No Sabonis, that's just... There's no usage in that offense outside of, Brogdon and Turner, going to be the two guys soaking up all the usage. Jeremy Lamb's going to have to do something. So, yeah, if Sabonis is out and Lamb starts, Lamb looks like a really good play. It's just now that Donovan Mitchell is out, Jordan Clarkson is a really good option as well. And Clarkson is a little bit more expensive than Lamb. I think if I can find the salary, I think I want to try and get up to Jordan Clarkson over Jeremy Lamb now. Clarkson's just going to get a ton of usage with no Donovan Mitchell. I'm pretty sure he leads the team in usage so far this season with Mitchell off the floor. I don't think he's going to start, but he's going to come off the bench and probably play 30 minutes. He's a guy that just, when he's on the floor, he's going to take a ton of shots. He can get rebounds. He can get assists. Clarkson at 5,900. I think I slightly prefer him over Jeremy Lamb now. Clarkson looks like a really good option. Mike Conley as well, I think, is too cheap now. Both Conley and Clarkson are great plays now that Donovan Mitchell's out. Let's go, Noel. We got to get that money tonight. Let's do it, Christopher. Let's do it. By the way, you're the best DFS host on YouTube. I appreciate that, JJ. Thank you. I appreciate that. Back again, my man. Broke even last night. Let's make it better tonight, bro. Appreciate you. Thank you, David. Yeah, that was kind of the same thing for me last night. Last night was one of those nights where you just you get some money back and you just move on to the next slate. Those short slates I'm not a big fan of anyway, so we can actually take a look back at my lineup from last night. We'll do that real quick. So I played one lineup on DK, and this was the lineup that I played. Trae Young, Lou Williams, Marcus Morris, DeAndre Hunter, Boogie, John Wall, Luke Kennard, and Alec Burks. I scored 258.75, which cashed in some things, didn't cash in others. It was one of those nights where I got a little bit of money back and just kind of move on to the next slate. But this was my lineup. We talked about it in the stream. I was very high on Lou Will, Marcus Morris. I thought those were the two best guys to target from the Clippers at their price points yesterday. Obviously, that didn't work out. Those were two of the bigger disappointments. But really like Lou Will, really like Marcus Morris. They were both core plays for me on Patreon. Boogie was a core play. I originally had Jerome Robinson in my main lineup. I was pretty high on Robinson at 4K as a value. He started last game, played a ton of minutes. But once we got word that he was not starting, I actually got off of Jerome Robinson. I removed him from the core plays, replaced him with John Wall. So that's how I landed on Wall in this build. I was a little iffy on Wall just because I wasn't sure what his minutes were going to look like. But then we got word that his minutes were going to be, quote unquote, monitored. They didn't really come out and say that he was going to be limited to a certain number of minutes. So I thought there was a chance he would play like 30 minutes or more. And I think he only played 24. He was actually really good. He had 35 DK points. But yeah, he only played 24 minutes last night, which was pretty annoying. I thought he was still at 6,900. That was just too cheap for John Wall. But yeah, this was the lineup that I played last night. Managed to get some money back, but obviously I didn't have a great night. 258.75 wasn't good enough in some tournaments. In the lower dollar stuff, it was able to cash, but not in the higher dollar stuff. But yeah, we'll start answering some questions for tonight's slate. That was just a little recap. I want to do that every stream, just recap my lineup from last night, let you guys see what I played. There's a lot of good point guards for tonight. Don't know who to go with. Yeah, there is a lot of good point guards. I like Trae Young. I like Steph Curry at the top. Mike Conley, Jordan Clarkson, they both look like really good options now. Now that Donovan Mitchell's out. Malcolm Brogdon, if Sabonis winds up out, looks like a really good play at 8,600. I'm going to like Brogdon quite a bit. If D'Angelo Russell plays, I think he's a really good tournament option. Nobody's going to be on him. I like him at 8,300. If he's out, Rubio becomes a good point guard option. Yeah, point guard, it's pretty loaded tonight. And there's still some injuries here with Hero, Dragic, those guys questionable, which could open up, Kendrick Nunn as another viable play. Last night was crazy. I played Morris and Westbrook, who were cold but still scored 290 in the top 1%. Damn, if you had both those guys and still scored 290, pretty well. Westbrook, once we got word Westbrook was going to be limited again, I was off of him. I don't know if you saw that, Ethan, but yeah, Westbrook was on a minutes limit last night. On FanDuel, I might just go to Lamb, Clarkson, Fabio. Oh, gotcha. Forward for 5,700, who we got? Let's see. I'll take a look. For me, it would probably be Jared Vanderbilt, 5,400. I talked about him in my YouTube video last night. You know, maybe there will be some better value that opens up, but I think Vanderbilt does look like a pretty solid play at 5,400. Gonna probably play 24, 25 minutes, maybe more. If he's not in foul trouble, he can get like 26, 28 minutes. He's been really productive this year when he does get minutes. Good matchup, fast-paced game. I would take Jared Vanderbilt there. You know, Jacob. Talking about forward, 5,700 or less, I'd take Vanderbilt. At least right now. Morris and Burks got me too. Yeah, I was pretty high on Morris. Burks, he just kind of fit into my lineup. You know, I wasn't locked and loaded on Burks, but when I built out my lineup and he fit, I was, you know, totally fine playing him there in that last spot. But Morris was one of the first guys into my lineup. Even when it was announced he wasn't starting, I was still pretty high on Marcus Morris. Just, you know, some things don't work out. It's okay. Wow, I actually made a live stream. Hot Carl in the house. Time. Oh, turn your luck. I got you, Hot Carl. Well, appreciate you tuning into the stream. Glad you can make it. Steven Adams a good option at $19. Probably not, honestly. Like I don't think Steven Adams is going to be someone I really go to on a big slate like this. Even in a good matchup against Washington, I rarely play Steven Adams. Would it do, bro? Let's stack that paper. Let's get it, Jason. Let's get it, my man. Is it a good strategy to pick 8 5K salary guys? Can you win like that? I mean, it's all slate dependent, JJ. Like, if there's value, then you probably want to go for the value. If there's good studs to pay up for, you want to get the studs. Like, I never go into a slate saying, oh, I'm going to build this certain way. It's all slate dependent. Some slates you go stars and scrubs. Some slates there's not a ton of value, so you kind of look to the mid-range. Is Westbrook sitting out? Yes, he's already been ruled out. He's resting. When you say cash or tournament, what do you mean? So Suave, cash games, those are 50-50s, head-to-heads, double-ups. Basically any contest where like at least 30-40% of the field gets paid. So, you know, the contests that I said, tournaments are contests where about 25% or less of the field gets paid, and, you know, the tournaments are what you see in the lobby. You know, the big contest with 100K to first, those are tournaments. Cash games are double-ups, 50-50s, head-to-heads, triple-ups, those kind of contests. Where, you know, if you finish right inside the money or you finish first place, you get the same amount of money. That's basically how cash games are. What do you think about Gill if he starts again? Probably not going to go there. I mean, he's cheap, but I feel like there's just better value with more upside. Or there will probably be better value with more upside. Like, Gill is just not a high-usage player. Even if he starts, like he started last game and he only had like 16 fantasy points, so probably not on Anthony Gill. Best bigs on the slate. If I can pay up, I do like Capella if he plays. He's questionable right now. That'll be something to watch. But I do like Capella. I like Embiid at the top. In the mid-range, I think DeAndre Ayton looks like a really good option. 7,300. I like DeAndre Ayton a lot at 7,300. Naz Reid, I still have some interest in. More so on Yahoo, but he's fine on DK too. I would say favorite center right now is probably DeAndre Ayton when you factor in price. Zion looking like a good option with a weak matchup against the Wizards. I mean, yeah, I think Zion's definitely in play. You know, I don't know if he's going to be a core play for me, but if I was playing a lot of lineups, I would for sure have exposure to Zion. Zion, Ingram, Lonzo, I think those are all guys you can put in tournaments just because they have upside in this matchup. If Capella is out, is Collins a lock? I mean, he's not a lock, but he's a really good play. He definitely gets a big boost if Capella's out, and I would like him a lot more. Thoughts on Garland? Yeah, I know Darius Garland's really cheap. His minutes have been all over the place. He's been coming off the bench too. Like, how many minutes did he play last game? He got like 26 minutes last game. I mean, I'm a bit worried since he's coming off the bench. Like, I just don't know how many minutes he's going to play, but he could be someone worth targeting for 4,600 as a cheaper option. He probably is going to be low owned, so you could go there in tournaments. I don't know if that's going to be something I personally do though, but yeah, you could go to Darius Garland. Deontay Murray too cheap? I think so. Definitely, Michael. I think Murray, even in a bad matchup, is too cheap. 6,600 on DK. It's just too cheap for Deontay Murray. You think Terrence Mann was a fluke last night? I mean, no. Terrence Mann, he's been a pretty productive player when he does get minutes. I wanted to get him into my lineup last night once it was announced he was starting, but I just didn't have enough guard spots because I wanted Lou Will, I wanted Trae Young, I wanted to get one of John Wall or Bradley Beal. Like, I just didn't have enough guard spots to fit my build. If Terrence Mann would have had forward eligibility, I would for sure have played him, but I couldn't fit him in since he was guard only. Jamal Murray after the nut check. I think I'd take the other Murray on this slate. I think I'd take Deontay Murray over Jamal Murray, even after he whacked Tim Hardaway in the nuts. Westbrook out, and if Neto's out, I think Gil's a good play. I mean, that doesn't really benefit Gil too much because Gil's a forward. It's not like he's a guard. If Neto's out too, then I think like Garrison Matthews would be the guy that would benefit there because he would be like the next guard up that would have to see more minutes. Clarkson or Conley with Mitchell out. I like both, Nicholas. I think both are really good options now. I guess if I had to choose one, I'd probably take Clarkson, but it's really close. I mean, there's a good chance that I play both Clarkson and Conley tonight if I can make it work. Aaron Gordon going to smash tonight. I mean, yeah, it's a really good matchup for Aaron Gordon. I wish he was cheaper, but against the Kings, I mean, that's one of the best possible matchups you can get. So, yeah, I could see Aaron Gordon having a good game for sure. You think Cody Zeller continues to get more minutes? Looking at him or Precious Achiuwa to fill out a lineup? Well, I'll already tell you, I probably would not play Precious Achiuwa. Cody Zeller, I mean, he's still coming off the bench. His minutes, I don't think have been that high. Like, how many did he get last game? I mean, yeah, like he's only going to play probably 18 to 20 minutes. He's been backing up Biyombo, so yeah, I think there's way better value, Ethan. I would not be playing those guys. Trey and run it back with ball hog Irving. I mean, you could do that. I don't think you have to play anyone from Brooklyn, but if I was going to, between the big three, I think it would probably be Kyrie when you factor in the price. You like Curry or Young tonight? I like both, Ronald. I think if I had to choose one, I'd probably take Trae Young, but I like both. You fading the best player in the league, Luka, again at your own risk. Honestly, I don't think I'm going to have much exposure to Luka tonight. And if it bites me again, then so be it. But I think there's other studs I'd rather play. Bradley Beal, now that Westbrook's out, I really like Curry, Trae Young, even Joel Embiid I have interest in. I don't think I'm going to be paying almost $11K for Luka in this spot. But if he went off again, I would not be surprised because he's that good of a player. Hardaway knocked him down right in front of the ref and no call, so he finished the deal. I saw the clip, but that was pretty funny. Conley and Irving are my pivots off Curry and Paul for FanDuel. I mean, yeah, those. I don't know what their price tags Curry and Paul are on FanDuel, but Conley and Irving are both viable for sure. Isaiah Stewart to fill a lineup. I mean, I'm not really on Isaiah Stewart. He might get more minutes with Blake Griffin out, but unless he starts or something, I just feel like there's going to be better value. I'm probably not going to be on him personally. Grant will be the play of the night versus the Cavs. Jeremy Grant, 8,100, the play of the night. I don't think I'm going to be going there, but go ahead. I mean, I don't know. I know Jeremy Grant's been really good this year, but he's 8,100, man. I just feel like there's better options on this slate. And if Jeremy Grant goes out there and puts up 50, then so be it. But I'll get burned by Jeremy Grant. If he burns me, then so be it. Will you be paying up at small forward or going Lamb, Bridges, Johnson, etc.? It all depends on what kind of value opens up right now. I don't see a ton of great options at the top that I love. So yeah, Jeremy Lamb looks good for cheap. He's probably the guy I'd be going to right now. Beal wasn't good on a 3-game slate. What makes you think he will be any different today with all these better plays? I mean, Torrey, that was one game, my man. You can't just look at what he did one game. I mean, Westbrook was playing then. Beal, his usage, he has almost a 40% usage rate this season with Westbrook off the floor. I'm glad Bradley Beal had a bad game yesterday because hopefully that people are scared to go to him now. Joe Ingles a safe floor play in the small forward spot. I think Joe Ingles could start since Mitchell's out. I think it's likely they move him into the starting lineup, and if he does start, yeah, he's definitely in play as a cheaper option. He hasn't gotten a ton of minutes this year, but mainly that's just been due to, he's been coming off the bench. Obviously, they have other guys they give minutes to, but now that Mitchell's out, I mean, that's a lot of minutes they have to, kind of give elsewhere, and I think Ingles will soak up a good amount of minutes. So, yeah, if he starts, he's a good value, I think. Yo, Noah, what's good? Thanks for all you do, my man. Let's get this money. Let's get it, Zachary. Let's get it, my man. Garland, Young, Clarkson, Lamb, Matthews, Cam Johnson, Gordon, Tatum, and Ayton. That's decent right now, Andrew. That's decent for now. King James smashes Simmons tonight. He's going on a heater now after he burned Cleveland down. I mean, if you wanna buy into that, go ahead. What guys outside of CP3 and Ayton do you like most from the Suns? Cam, Jay Crowder. It would probably be Cam Johnson. He'd be the next guy that I would look to, just because I think his minutes are gonna be secure. Like, he's gonna play over 30 minutes if it's a close game, especially since Booker's out. Like, that's just one less guy that can take minutes away from Cam. I know Booker's a guard, but they can just run different lineups to where Cam Johnson is not on the floor. But now he's probably going to have to be on the floor. So, yeah, I'd go to him next. But CP3 and Ayton, I think those are going to be the two guys I look to most from the Suns. What's up, Noah? What's up, Brandon? Appreciate you tuning in, man. Can you go over your lineup from last night? Also, whoever said Jeremy Grant against the Cavs, you're onto something. Yeah, Josh, so we did it at the beginning of the stream, but here it is again. This was the lineup that I played last night. Trae Young, Lou Will, Marcus Morris, Hunter, Cousins, Wall, Kennard, and Alec Burks. Most contests, it didn't cash, but it did cash in some of the lower entry stuff. 258.75. And my core plays were on Patreon were Trae Young, Lou Will, Marcus Morris, Cousins, and Wall. Those are my 5 core plays. Originally, I had Jerome Robinson as a core play, but I took him out once it was announced he wasn't starting. And he was still popular, too. Like, Jerome Robinson was still like 30% owned, 40% owned yesterday, even after he wasn't starting. So I'm kind of glad I got off of him. What's your Instagram? Is it the same? I mean, I don't have an Instagram, Brandon, at least not for DFS. I have one for my personal life, but I don't have one for, like, DFS. The only thing I have for DFS-wise is Twitter. It's my YouTube name, @DFSbyNoah. That's my Twitter. Westbrook is out. Neto is questionable. Don't Galaxy brain it. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, there's a good chance Bradley Beal starts at point guard. I mean, it doesn't matter because anyway, he's going to be the primary ball handler when he's on the floor. But, yeah, if Neto's out too, I mean, that just makes me feel even better about Bradley Beal. If Joe Ingles starts, would you fade and play Clarkson as leverage play? I mean, Clarkson I don't think is going to be leverage. I think he's going to be popular. I mean, I could see playing Clarkson, Ingles, and Conley all in the same lineup. Because Ingles is still so cheap, he's like 4,200. And normally I wouldn't want 3 Jazz in my lineup, but now that Mitchell's out, like that's just so much usage to go around. He plays a ton of minutes too, so there's minutes that have to be spread around too. I like all 3 of those guys. Roby or Vanderbilt, Curry or Trae. I'd probably go Vanderbilt, Trae, Danny, if I had to choose between those, Vanderbilt and Trae. If you think someone is a sleeper, don't mention them. That will make them not a sleeper to the public. All the best, fellas. I don't think my videos have that much of an impact, honestly. Do you factor back-to-backs for your studs when you're building your lineup? I really don't. So even though Bradley Beal's on a back-to-back, he's still a really good option today, especially since Russell Westbrook's out. Unless it's like a guy that normally gets limited on back-to-backs, I don't really worry about it. Can we talk about how bad the Rockets-Wizards game was last night? All the players on both teams are washed. I mean, yeah, I can't remember what the final score was, but it was pretty low scoring, I think. I think it finished with under 200 points, and the total was like 220 or something, 230. Trae, Josh Jackson, or Powell and John Collins? Well, Powell, it depends on if OG and Siakam play. Right now, OG and Siakam are both questionable. I think if they're both out, I would take the second one, Powell and Collins. What's good, Noah? Do you constantly monitor how your lineups are doing, or you just wait and check after they end? Jeremy, I'll be honest, bro. That's something I struggle with. Like, part of me wants to just sit there and stare at my lineups all night, see how they're doing. Then part of me's like, just put the phone down, eat food, eat some dinner, just watch some television, maybe watch the games, and don't really worry about it. I mean, if anything, I just watch the games, and I kind of have an idea in my head how my players are doing, rather than just checking Draftkings. I can, look at the box scores. That's what I'll do. I'll pull up the box scores and just see that way. If you guys, Anthony, Thugga, Michael, I see you're asking for cores. If you want my core plays, those are posted on Patreon. My final core plays are posted on Patreon. Jeremy Lamb narrative. I mean, yeah, he's played the Hornets a good amount since he left, but if you want to factor that in, for sure, go ahead. What do you think about Josh Jackson? I mean, I think he's viable since, Blake Griffin's out. There's a chance he might start. I doubt he does, but if he does, I'd like him a lot more. He's somewhat cheap. He's definitely cheap on Yahoo if you play over there, so I'm fine with Josh Jackson. Miles Turner, a good option. He's 7K on FanDuel. If Sabonis is out, I have a lot of interest in Miles Turner. I think if Sabonis plays, I don't expect to be on Miles Turner, but if he's out, yes. Turner gets a big bump. Thoughts on Cam Johnson, just 4,600 on FanDuel. Yeah, I think Cam Johnson's viable. He's not like a core value for me, but he's definitely in play. And if I was playing a lot of lineups, I would have exposure to Cam Johnson. I stare at lineups, hence I am on my 6th iPad. See, I try not to do that. It can just, I don't know, it can mess with your head. I think it's better just relax, watch the games, and you can kind of tell like how you're doing if you're watching the games that you have exposure to. So if there's any game I'm going to watch tonight, it might be the Brooklyn Hawks game because I'm probably going to have a good amount of exposure to that one. And if Trae Young's out there throwing up bricks, I know I'm probably not going to have a good night. But that's just how it goes. I think if Sabonis is out, you have to play Turner. His rebound rate will go up. Yeah, his rebound rate jumps. Both him and Brogdon will get more usage. I'd like both those guys quite a bit. And Jeremy Lamb would get a bump as well. Lamb, Turner, Brogdon, those would be the 3 guys worth considering from the Pacers if Sabonis is ruled out. Hello, Noah. Thanks for the regular live streams, man. Keep going. I appreciate that. I'm going to try and stream every day if I can, especially Monday through Friday. The weekends are up in the air, but definitely I'll be here Monday through Friday for sure. You think Hayward's a good play in the mid-range? I mean, he's fine, but I feel like there's other guys I'm probably going to go to on this slate, honestly. Ingram is 7.5K on FanDuel. That's got to be a steal. Yeah, that feels too cheap. He's 8K on Draftkings, so yeah, 7.5 on FanDuel. Does feel a little bit too cheap. How about Colin Sexton? Probably not on Sexton. I think I'd rather target the Jazz guys over him now. So Clarkson, Conley, I'd rather have those guys over Colin Sexton. Thoughts on Vooch or Gordon? The Kings post is usually dreadful. Yeah, the Kings defense has been terrible this year. They're dead last in defensive rating. They're playing at a very fast pace. I mean, it's a great matchup for Vooch and Gordon. It's just at their price tags, they don't stand out as core plays, top plays, but if you're playing multiple lineups, I think you want to have some of those Magic guys in your lineup for sure because it is such a good matchup. Did y'all talk about Clarkson already? Yeah, we kind of have Sulky. We've talked about him and Mike Conley, Ingles. All 3 of those guys benefit now that Mitchell's out. I think my favorite would probably be Clarkson, but I like all 3. Is CP3 a core option? Yeah, I still think he looks really good. With no Devin Booker, he's got double-digit assists in 2 straight games. He's a guy that has upside. He's older, but CP3 can still go out there and just put up big games. He's legit, can triple-double. Like, he's got that kind of upside. I still do like CP3. So Trae is in your lineups. I mean, for right now, I think I'm probably going to have Trae Young in my lineups. At least, the one lineup I play on DK tonight, he'll probably be in it. Not a guarantee, but I think he most likely will be in it. Good conversation. I can't even watch the games because dudes start infiltrating me. Just check on box scores, my man. Yeah, that's what I do. I mean, I'll watch some of the games, but normally I'm just looking at the box scores. Appreciate you answering my questions. On a big slate like this, is it good idea to play small portion on the late slate since they have 4 games? Honestly, Jeremy, I don't play the late slates. I just play the main slate. But you do what you want. Hit that like button. Yeah, hit the like button, guys. I appreciate all you tuning in. Steak and potatoes or chicken parm? I like both those, Spencer. I guess if I had to choose one, give me a nice chicken parmesan. With Mitchell out, do you prefer Conley or Gobert? I mean, Conley's a lot cheaper, so I think I'd rather play Conley, Jack, between the 2. What do you think about a KD, Harden, Kyrie stack? I would not do that, Shern. I don't even know how you would fit all 3 of those guys in the same lineup, but I would not do that. The only way that works is if the game goes to like double overtime. In that case, you're probably going to want to have about 2 or 3 Hawks in your lineup as well. Bro, you got to do FanDuel. It's getting popular, especially since it's advertised by the NBA every day. I mean, I have a FanDuel account, Christopher. I just don't play over there. But, I mean, I guess I could maybe in the future. I do have an account. I rarely play. Because I'm so focused on DK and Yahoo that I just don't think about FanDuel. But I mean, if they're getting advertised and if it's becoming a much bigger site, it probably does make sense to do content for it. But I don't want to do content for FanDuel if I'm not playing over there. Hey, Noah, I'm a little late. Well, I appreciate you tuning in, Max. Even if you're a little late, my man. Appreciate you being here. Top 3 cash plays as of now. I mean, I think you're going to want one of those Utah guys, whether it's Conley, Clarkson, or Joe Ingles. I think Clarkson's my favorite. I like Trae Young still a lot. I think Jeremy Lamb looks like a pretty good option. Those are a couple of guys I think that are cash viable. But there's still so much news we're waiting on, Jason. Like, it's hard to give, definitive plays right now. You think OKC can keep it close? I mean, I don't try and, predict blowouts, Nathan. So, yeah, I'm just going to assume they keep it close. Still learning. I usually try to play the point guard and center from the same team as 4 of my 8 players. Is that a good strategy? I mean, Jenna, I'll be honest, I would not do that. Like, I would not play the point guard and the center. Like, even though they may correlate some way, like, it's just, you don't need to play. Like, I don't need to go into a slate and say, oh, I love Trae Young today, so I got to play Clint Capella. Or, oh, I love Steph Curry, so I got to play James Wiseman. Like, no. FanDuel question, if Sabonis is out, is P.J. Washington a good play, 6,500? You go with Boucher at the same price? Honestly, I'd probably still take Boucher, especially if Siakam's out. I know Boucher's been terrible lately, but I think at some point he's going to have a big game again. He's just such a high upside player. Who the heck is CP3? JM, that would be Chris Paul. We think about this lineup: Noah, Trae, Jeremy Lamb, Cam Johnson, Vanderbilt, Biyombo, Beal, Ingles, Murray. I mean, Biyombo I'm not the biggest fan of, but the rest looks okay. Rest looks okay for now. Who's your MVP as of now? I think Luka just has a better record. He's most valuable to his team. I mean, it'd probably be between like Luka or Embiid or Jokic. One of those 3 guys. I think I'm a big Jokic fan, so give me Jokic right now. But, I mean, we saw, like, last game against Detroit, I mean, the Sixers just looked god-awful without Embiid. But I think all those teams, you take Embiid off the floor, you take Jokic off the floor, you take Luka off the floor, all those teams are going to be terrible. Or much worse, I should say. Adebayo or Brogdon? If Sabonis is out, I would rather have Brogdon. Capella or Ayton? I mean, for the savings, I would probably take Ayton, but if you're just asking, straight up, I'd take Capella, but Ayton's a lot cheaper. That is assuming that Capella plays. Scale of 1 to 10, how much of a must is Steph Curry? I mean, nobody's ever a must, Rich, especially on a 12-game slate. But do I like Curry tonight? Yes, I have interest in Curry. Is he a must-play? No, he's not a must-play. Nobody's a must-play. You could think someone's a must-play, and then, they break their ankle or they tear their ACL in the first 5 minutes, and you're screwed. So, yeah. If anything's a must-play, it would be like Boogie. When Boogie was 4,400 and he was starting and playing 30 minutes, that's the closest thing you'll get to a must-play. And still, things could go wrong, and he could disappoint somehow. Appreciate you, Noah. I appreciate you tuning in, Michael. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. What up, Noah? Between Nader and Gill, who's the better men's salary play tonight? Oh, God. Matthew, I'd probably take Nader, but I don't really like either one, honestly. Drummond's about to smash his old team. I mean, he's just not getting the minutes right now, Andrew. Like, now that Jared Allen's in there, he's only getting like 26, 28 minutes, which just really caps his upside. It's hard to pay up for Drummond when he's not getting, 35, 36 minutes like he used to. Thoughts on the Greek Freak? I mean, yeah, I always have interest in Giannis. Is this matchup great against the Raptors? No, but he's just such a productive player when he's on the floor that he's in play for me every slate. Be prepared for another $10 head-to-head. You got me in the first 2 matchups, but the third time is a charm. I'll be waiting, Matthew, I guess. Thoughts on Wiseman tonight? Looking for a cheaper center play. Thoughts? I mean, Wiseman came off the bench last game, so he's really hard to trust right now. Until his price comes down, it's going to be tough to play Wiseman with him coming off the bench. If you're looking for a cheap center, I mean, I don't know if there's really any cheap centers that stand out right now. I mean, you could play Isaiah Roby if Horford's out. You could play him. But, yeah, it's like center doesn't have a ton of great value right now. Jeremy Lamb looking good. I have him in 3 to 4 of my lineups. Yeah, I do like Lamb. I think he gets a little bit of a boost if Sabonis is out. Right now, now that we know Mitchell's out, I think I'd rather try and get up to Jordan Clarkson over Jeremy Lamb. But, yeah, Jeremy Lamb's a good play for sure. And I'm going to like him more if Sabonis is out. Would you still like Lamb if Sabonis is playing? Yeah, I would, Jason. He's still going to get probably 28, 30 minutes off the bench, even if Sabonis plays. And if Sabonis is out, I would assume Lamb starts. Someone less than $14 on Yahoo as a small forward. Let's take a look. I think I have an idea, but yeah, it would probably be Joe Ingles if he starts. $11. Joe Ingles would be a pretty decent value there. Because you aren't playing Mikal Bridges, he's going to go off. Oh, for sure. For sure. I played Bridges last slate, and he completely burned me. So I'm not going to play him today, and he's going to have the game of his life. It's just how things go. Vanderbilt or Bagley. I would probably take Vanderbilt there, Anthony, between the two. Anyone want to take a side bet on if Noah's dog makes an appearance on this couch before the stream ends? Justin, I would say you probably don't want to take that bet because he's passed out on the couch right now. And I don't think he's going to waken up anytime soon. You might can hear him snoring. If I be quiet enough, you probably hear it. Which 3 players are you starting your DK lineup with? Just liked and subscribed. I mean, Joel, I'll be honest. I appreciate the like. I appreciate you liking the video and subscribing, but it's so hard to say who I'm starting my lineup with. I mean, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, there's still so much news we're waiting on. But right now, I like Trae Young. I like Clarkson and Conley with Mitchell out. Really like Jeremy Lamb as well. Those are a couple guys that stand out to me right now. What's good, Noah? Don't know if I miss you talking about it or not, but would you bother rostering anyone on the Pels? I mean, I think there's some tournament options on the Pelicans. Lonzo, Ingram, Zion. Those are the 3 guys that really stand out to me. But outside of that, yeah, I don't think there's really much stands out from the Pelicans outside of those 3 guys in tournaments. Thoughts on Norman, Nunn, and Jay Washington? I mean, Nunn I like, especially if Dragic and Hero are out again, or if they're out. Dragic has been playing, but Hero's been out recently. If Hero's out again, and if Dragic is out too, then yeah, I really like Kendrick Nunn. Norman Powell, I think, is in play if Siakam and Lowry, or if Siakam and OG are out. Right now, they're questionable. Washington, I mean, what is Washington, or PJ Washington, I'm assuming you mean? I mean, I'm just not a PJ Washington guy. Like, I just rarely play PJ Washington. His price is still pretty high. Not really on him, but Powell I like if OG and Siakam are out, and Nunn I would like a lot if Dragic and Hero are out. Joe Ingles sleeper since Mitchell is out. I don't know if he's going to be a sleeper, but I assume Joe Ingles will start with Mitchell out, and yeah, he's definitely in play. He's cheap on both sides. He's $4,200 on DK. Yeah, he's $11 on Yahoo. So if he starts, I do like Joe Ingles as a value. Cool. I'm going to play Bridges. Yeah, that's how it goes, David. Anytime I play someone, like I'm heavy on someone and they do terrible, the next slate I won't play them and they'll go off. So that probably means Bridges is going off tonight. What kind of dog do you have? I have a bulldog. He's an American bulldog. He's like a bulldog boxer mix. He's about a year old. You like Jared Allen? Not really, Bob. I mean, with him coming off the bench, like, he's just not going to play a ton of minutes. His price is still pretty high. I don't think I'm going to be on Jared Allen personally. Thoughts on Daniel Tice? He's been playing good. I mean, Tice is just not someone I really roster when the Celtics are fully healthy. Like, if Tristan Thompson was out, I would like Tice more, but I don't know. I don't know if we can expect him to keep up this production. Plus, his price is coming up. I just think there's other guys I'd rather go to over Daniel Tice. I'm only playing one lineup on DK, though, so maybe if you're playing a lot of lineups, you could throw in Daniel Tice, but in my one lineup tonight, I will not have Daniel Tice in my one lineup. Spurs starters seem underpriced. I think, yeah, both DeRozan and Dejounte Murray are too cheap on DK. I have interest in both those guys. We think about Trey, Josh Jackson, Hayward, Vanderbilt, Collins, Ayton, Naz Reid. That looks pretty good for now. Zion versus Anthony Gill. I mean, yeah, if Anthony Gill starts again, he'll have some fun trying to guard Zion. Luka or Beal for tiers. I mean, honestly, I think I'd take Bradley Beal. I know tiers is just who scores more points, but like Luka, I don't know what his ownership will be in tiers. I would assume he'd be more popular. So I'd take Beal there. Just hope he outscores Luka, which he could. Ingles or Lamb or Diallo. Between those three, David, I'd take Jeremy Lamb. But Ingles is going to be appealing if he starts. Diallo, it depends on if George Hill plays. Or if he's out again, Diallo's fine, but I'd still play Lamb and Ingles over him. Any cheap plays at center? Not really, Brandon. Right now, there's not a ton of value at center, on DK at least. Best stack today? I mean, I don't really stack in NBA, Anthony. I mean, sure, you could maybe stack like the Brooklyn-Atlanta game because it has such a high total, but I don't think there's really stacks in NBA. You just kind of play who you like. You don't worry about stacks. This isn't baseball or football. Love your show, Noah. I appreciate that, S-Bone. Would you roster both Ellington and Wright if D Rose comes back? Honestly, I'd be off both those guys. With Rose is playing tonight, so I don't really have much interest in Wright now that he's gotten priced up. And Ellington, we've already talked about this. I just don't play Wayne Ellington, especially since he's been priced up too. Thoughts on Colin Sexton? We talked about Sexton earlier. Like on this slate, I don't think I have much interest in him. I'd rather play the Jazz guys over him. So Conley and Clarkson. I'd take both those guys over Sexton personally. Not playing Trae Young, Capella. He's been killing me. I see why you play Trae. I mean, Trae Young's been way better lately. Both him and Capella have been smashing. If you're saying that you've been playing them and they've been sucking, and then you get off of them and they smash, I understand you there. But those two guys have been playing really well. Especially Trae. Trae looks like his old self now, finally. MPJ or Malik Beasley? I think if D'Angelo Russell's out, I would take Malik Beasley. If D'Angelo Russell plays, then give me MPJ. You ever played Super Draft before? I do have a Super Draft account, Mitch Dad. I don't play too often, but I do have an account now. Thanks for the help as always, bro. Sure thing, Tank. Sure thing. No, when you make your picks, do you take into consideration the players who are guarding your picks? For instance, last night, Oladipo was clearly affected by a very pesky Russell Westbrook. I mean, I'll be honest, Justin, I don't really factor that much at all. If anything, it's like centers that you should worry about, especially because centers can get in foul trouble. So, like, when guys have to go up against Embiid, they can get into foul trouble and stuff. But guards, like, I don't really worry about that. Did Oladipo really have a bad game because of Westbrook, or did he just have, like, a off night shooting-wise? He's not on the slate, but I think he had a pretty off night shooting-wise, but maybe I'm wrong. I mean, Westbrook, I don't think he's really, at this point, he's not like a great defender anyways. I never play them, and it always bites me because I know I should have is what I meant. I got you, Brandon. Yeah, Capella, I was a little late to the Capella train, and that came back to bite me. Like those 3 games where he went for like 70, I didn't play him on any of those slates. Is Neto a must if he plays? I mean, he's not a must play by any means. He'd be a decent value because he'd start, probably play 30 minutes or so. Is he a must play? I mean, Raw Neto, not a must play by any means. But he should do pretty well for his salary if he starts. I would assume that if he plays, he does start. Who are the plays for Miami? I mean, there's not much that stands out for Miami right now. It all depends on if Dragic and Hero are in or out. If Dragic and Hero are both out, then I like Kendrick Nunn a lot. I think Bam becomes viable, but Nunn would be the one guy I would go to for Miami, depending on if Dragic and Hero play or if they're out again. Garland or Rubio if you had to choose. If D'Angelo Russell is out, I would rather have Ricky Rubio. Boban, I mean, I don't think Boban's really viable on this slate. I mean, he might get some minutes going up against Gobert, but I know some people thought he was going to get minutes last game against Jokic, and he only played 3 minutes. I mean, if you want if you're playing a shit ton of lineups, or if you're just wanting a guy that's going to be basically going to have no ownership at all, I mean, sure, you could take a shot on Boban and hope he gets like 20 minutes, but yeah, good luck, guessing if that's going to happen. If Neto does not play, you think Winston is a good play? I would like to see a starting lineup first. I would assume that if Neto's out, that they start Bradley Beal at point guard, and then they maybe start Jerome Robinson alongside him. But yeah, if Winston were to start, he'd be solid. Garrison Matthews, I think, would get some more minutes, so he'd be in play. Starting lineup's going to be important, though, from Washington first. Do you like Maxey tonight against the Lakers? Not really, no. With the Sixers fully healthy now, I just don't have any interest in Maxey. He was a good play when all those guys were out, but now they're back to full strength. Yeah, Maxey's just not getting a ton of minutes. I mean, what's he even been doing lately? Like, I mean, even on a good night, he might get maybe 20 minutes if he's playing well. I wouldn't play Maxey. Miles Turner, I like Miles Turner depending on if Sabonis is in or out. If Sabonis is out, then yeah, definitely sign me up for Miles Turner. If Sabonis plays, not as much interest since Miles Turner's been, he's seen his price jacked up. It's DFS, anything can happen. I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, somebody could get in foul trouble and Boban could get minutes off the bench. Go ahead. Like, if you wanted to play him, go ahead. It's your lineups. I personally, though, will not have any exposure to Boban. Is DeRozan a cash lock? I mean, I wouldn't say he's a cash lock, Doc. Like, it's too early to say who's nobody's a cash lock at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. There's just so much news that could come out from now to a lock that could change everything. DeRozan's a solid play, but he's no cash lock. Thoughts on Abdel Nader revenge? What the fuck are these questions? Abdel Nader revenge game? Oh my god. Oh man. You think Turner or Ayton on Yahoo? If Sabonis is out, I would go with Turner. If Sabonis plays, I think I'd rather have Ayton. Thanks for the input, bro. Let's secure the bag now. Let's do it, Jason. Let's get it, my man. I appreciate you tuning in, Jason. Thank you for all your advice. I love your content. Thank you, JM. I appreciate that. I got you, Solo. I understand there's no Devin Booker, but I think the revenge game for Abdel Nader, I mean, I think you're reaching a bit there, buddy. I understand wanting to play maybe wanting to play Nader because Booker's out, but saying it's a revenge game for Abdel Nader, I mean, my God. I think you're reaching a little bit. But if Abdel Nader has a great game, then he has a great game. So be it. I don't think, even if he does, that I'll be losing because of that. Bismack or Robin Lopez? I'd take Robin Lopez there if I had to choose one. I don't love either, but I'd take Lopez if I had to choose one. If you can't pronounce the name, just don't play them. Just a rule of mine. Oh, I hope you can pronounce Giannis. Or I hope you can pronounce his last name. All in on Nader, lock it in. Yeah, if he goes off, so be it, man. So be it. I think at the end of the day, it won't even matter because nobody's going to play him. Except maybe that guy. Noah, my God, what are your favorite sports teams? Clinton, I'm a big FSU fan, so I'm a big Florida State fan. I like the Lakers as well. I'm a big LeBron fan, so whatever team LeBron plays for, that's the team I pull for. So, yeah, Lakers and Florida State, especially FSU. I've always been an FSU fan my whole life. Ayton or Bam? I think I'd take Ayton there for the savings, Doc. I know Ayton's like $1,000 cheaper, so I'd rather play Ayton. Hunter or Hayward? I mean, Hunter's a lot cheaper. Like, if you're just asking who scores more points, I think Hayward scores more points. But when you factor in salary, I'd rather have Hunter. Teams do give you extra looks against their old team. Look at John Wall last night. Well, yeah, Solo. John Wall's a high-usage player. Abdel Nader's just going to stand in the corner. I don't think the Suns are going into that game saying, "Damn, Abdel, you're playing against your old buddies on the Thunder. We're going to give you some extra shots tonight." I don't think that's the game plan. I think you're reaching a bit, my man. O'Neal or Vanderbilt? I would take Vanderbilt, David. I think Vanderbilt gets way more, or he just has way more upside. Is Sekou a good play with Griffin out? I mean, he's fine if he starts. I don't know what's going to, in terms of the starting lineup, I don't know who they're going to start. But yeah, if Sekou starts for Blake Griffin, he could be viable. Dejounte Murray a good play? Yeah, I do like Dejounte Murray. I think he's too cheap on DraftKings. We've said that multiple times. Send me a head-to-head, all you Nader players. Oh, man. Man, we got some stupid questions in the chat today. Jesus. I've tried to skip over most of them, but damn. I mean, we're just, like, what are we thinking, guys? What's your DK screen name, Noah? It's GOAT of DFS. So, GOAT, G-O-A-T, of DFS. That's my username. You see value in Mike Muscala, or am I chasing? You're probably chasing there, Cornelius. I mean, maybe if Horford's out again, he could get like 20, 22 minutes and have a decent game, but I don't think I'd go that route. Does it matter where you place your players on the board? For example, does utility center make less than a regular center? No, they all score the same amount of points. You want to have the guys in the later game in your util spot. So if you build out your lineup and you see that you have someone playing, like say you have two centers in your lineup and you have like a center playing at 7 o'clock in the util spot, and then you have a center playing at 10 o'clock in the center spot, switch them around, move the guy to the late game in the util spot. So that way, if late news comes out after lock, you have all kind of options to choose from. You can take that center out and replace him with everyone else rather than just a center. A couple days ago it was trolls. Now people are just being dumb. I mean, yeah, there's been a lot of dumb questions today, man. Asking about some players that I don't even know how in the hell you would be playing today. I'm from Houston, man. I always knew Capella was going to be good. I'm happy for him. We didn't use him correctly. Yeah, Capella's a monster. In terms of fantasy, like the dude, it just seems like every shot that goes up, he's the dude grabbing the rebound. Like he's just always around the rim, grabbing boards. He gets putbacks. He gets blocks. He's a monster. If he gets, when he plays big minutes, he's a monster. Who's your favorite receiver on the Buccaneers for the Super Bowl? Oh, my God. Godwin. You prefer Roby or O'Neal? I'd rather have Isaiah Roby. Assuming that Horford does not play, I would rather have Isaiah Roby. How long did it take for you to get over the hump? What do you mean, Solo? We have FSU back on our schedule for 2021. Go Gators. Oh, God. Dude, we're going to get our ass kicked. We're so bad right now. Our football team has just went to complete garbage. And I thought with our new coach, with Norvell coming in, maybe things would be a bit different. But, God, we were terrible last year. Capella playing on the back-to-back. We don't know yet, Bob. He's questionable. Right now we got to watch the status of Capella, D'Angelo Russell, Sabonis, Siakam, Tyler Hero, Dragic. Like, those are some of the big question marks right now. Who will be the stud of the night in your opinion? I mean, right now, probably my two favorite studs are Bradley Beal and Trae Young. If Sabonis is out, do you go with Trae and Brogdon? I'm sure you still want to fit Beal. Yeah, I think if Sabonis is out, Brogdon's going to become a much better play. And God, it's so close to the tail right now, but I think I'm probably going to go with Brogdon in my main lineup if Sabonis is out. Don't know yet for sure, but if I can make it work, I want Brogdon because I think his upside is just massive with no Sabonis. And still no TJ Warren, no Oladipo, obviously. He's no longer on the team. LeVert's not playing. Brogdon, he's going to dominate the usage if Sabonis is out. Basically, how long were you playing before you started winning? I got you. I mean, Solo, I'll be honest, it took me a couple years. Like I was I didn't play much at all. Like when I first started playing DFS, I'd play like maybe $1 a day, if that, and I would just constantly lose. Like I don't think I've ever told this story, but when I first started playing DFS, I would literally just play guys that were playing on national TV so that way I could watch them play. It was a terrible strategy. I would never win. And then I did like a $25 entry, and it was like $160 to first, and I won it on Yahoo. That was like my first ever decent win. Because I remember it was back when Bumgarner played for the Giants. It was a long time ago. It was a Sunday night game. I had Bumgarner, and I needed like 34 points from him, and he had like 8 innings pitched, like 10 strikeouts, complete game shutout, and I won that tournament with Bumgarner in the late night Sunday night game. Still love Lamb as much as you did yesterday. I think now that Donovan Mitchell's out, I'd probably rather play Conley or Clarkson over Lamb. But yeah, Lamb is still a good option. And if Sabonis is out, Lamb is an even better play. I'm from Oklahoma. We'll take care of Florida. Well, good luck with that. Do they even play next year? I don't know. I don't know if the schedules have even been released yet. Why you go Trey over Curry? I just really like the matchup for Trey. I like the game environment. 2 very fast-paced teams, highest total on the slate. I'm just a big Trey Young fan. So I slightly prefer him over Curry. But Curry's a good play too. If Curry outscored Trey, I would not be surprised at all. What's the most you've ever won? I won $10K on a Yahoo free roll. It was a season-long NBA tournament back in 2017. It was a $10K to first tournament, and I won that. That's my biggest win. Sabonis out. He's questionable, David. Right now he's questionable. Naz Reid. I like Naz Reid, Dante. I like him more on Yahoo. If you play over there, Naz Reid's really cheap, so I think he looks pretty good on Yahoo. Tougher to play him on Draftkings, but I do like him on Yahoo. If Neto is out, who is next in line for the minutes? David, we'll have to wait and see who would start. I would assume that either Jerome Robinson starts or maybe Garrison Matthews starts. So probably one of those 2 guys. Both of them would benefit with no Neto if he doesn't play. What's up, Noah? Shout out from Chicago. What are your 3 to 4 core plays for today? Scratch God. I can't give out core plays on here, but if you want my final core plays, those are posted on Patreon if you're interested. Any word on Siakam's status? He's still questionable. All right, guys, I'm going to be live for a few more minutes, so get any last-minute questions in. I'll answer them, and we'll end the stream. I appreciate all you tuning in today. Appreciate it. Big slate tonight, so hopefully if I don't take down anything, it's one of you guys. Can we trust McConnell? See what he's been doing lately? He's been getting good minutes. I think if there's no Sabonis, like he has a path to get more minutes. Like if McConnell's playing well, they'll play him minutes, and he's a productive player when he does get minutes. So if you want to take a shot on him in tournaments, he's going to be low owned, so I could see playing him tonight in tournaments. How many fantasy points do you need to hit first place on TK tonight? I mean, that's a stupid question. Like, if all the chalk busts, it's going to be a low-scoring night. If all the chalk does well, it's going to be a high-scoring night. Like, there's no specific number you need to win. It all varies from night to night. How many lineups do you play on a night like this? I'm playing 1 lineup on Yahoo, and I'm playing 1 lineup on DK. I've been kind of varying. Like, some nights I've been playing 10. Some nights I've been just playing 1. I'm just going 1 lineup tonight. And I'm just running it in a bunch of single-entry tournaments, some double-ups, some cash games. Just playing 1 lineup on each site. Appreciate you, Noah, for real. Only dude I seriously listen to. Well, I appreciate that, David. Thank you for tuning in, my man. What type of tournaments do you think are the best to play in DFS? Single entry, higher entry fees with lower player base? Joseph, I mean, I can't tell you how much money to play for, but single entry is a good way to go if you're only playing 1 lineup. You know, if you're just playing 1 lineup, I think playing single entry. So that way, it's your 1 lineup against everyone else's 1 lineup. You don't have to worry about people, having 150 entries. That's where I would go. And yeah, smaller fields are a good way to go as well. So contests with like 1,000 people or less, those are a lot easier to win than the really big field contests with 50, 60,000 people in them. Just wanted to say you're an absolute gem for doing these streams. Wish everyone luck tonight. I appreciate that, Grayson. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. I'm glad you enjoy the streams. New to DK, what is the best version to play for an amateur? Is tiers a waste of time or just stick to classic? I mean, tiers, honestly, Zachary, is probably a good way to start because in tiers, you're just picking who you think scores the most points. There's really no, I don't want to say there's no, like, edge or anything, but there's no, like, you know, you don't have to worry about trying to build out a lineup. You just kind of pick who you think scores the most points. So tiers is probably a good way to start. Did you show your lineup last night? I'll show it real quick, Spencer. So this is what I played last night. Finished 258.75, which in some tournaments was good enough to cash. In some tournaments it wasn't. I was able to get a little bit of money back though, so can't say it was that bad of a night. But my core plays were Trae Young, Lou Will, Marcus Morris, John Wall, and Boogie. Those are my 5 core plays that I posted on Patreon. All right, guys, I think I'm going to end the stream. We've been live for about an hour, so I appreciate all you tuning in. Thanks as always, guys, for all the support. Appreciate you, Joseph. Thank you, T-Bone. Hit that like button. Yeah, hit the like button, guys, before you do get out of here. Thanks as always. I do appreciate, all the support. Best of luck tonight, guys. Big slate, so hopefully if I'm not taking down a tournament tonight, it's one of you guys, all right? Good luck, guys. I appreciate it. Best of luck, boys. Best of luck.